Hello everyone, hope you're having a good weekend. We recently had some new leaks indicating that Tekken 8 is on the way, which has me very excited. Remember, we had those big leaks last year where we saw the Tekken 8 title for the first time, and now we've seen what looks like a logo. It's difficult to tell if it's genuine or fake, but my gut feeling is that it is real. It feels real to me. If it is fake, it is at least more impressive than what Capcom actually came up with for Street Fighter 6. And if it is real, the date that we've seen is 2023, which means that there's going to be an official reveal of the game at some event, probably E3 this year. And then we're going to have gameplay trailers and character reveals leading up to the release. So it's going to be a very exciting and fun year to be playing and talking about Tekken, and it has me in a very, very good mood. Now, something that we all worry about when it comes to the next game in the franchise is, will my favorite characters be in it? It's something people worry about a lot. I see it in my comment sections all the time. I see it on Reddit. It's something that I worry about, honestly, because I don't play that many characters that are going to stay in the franchise forever. So let's figure it out. This is going to be my Who is in Tekken 8 tier list. The top tier is royalty, so this is going to be characters that are like emblematic of the franchise. I can't see Namco making a game without them, or characters who are connected to the main story and kind of have to be in the game for that reason. Characters I think will be in, characters where I genuinely can't tell. Characters I think will get the axe, and then characters who are definitely dead as far as I can tell. I obviously have no secret information, I'm just speculating, but I would be surprised if I'm wrong about too many of these. Let's go. We're going to go in alphabetical order, starting with Elisa, who I'm going to place in royalty. I know this character isn't super popular or like loved in the community, but I think she is one of the main characters that Namco are pushing for the story. She was one of the main characters in Tekken 6 and in 7. She's part of that little Larcy team of good guys. And I think Namco like this character, and I think they want to continue to push her as one of the main characters of the franchise. So I think both her and her boyfriend are going to be in the games going forward. Oscar, I'm actually also a little bit controversial maybe, but I'm going to place her in royalty as well. I think Oscar and Lily are some of the few characters that have come out after Tekken 3 that have become sort of emblematic of the franchise. I think the developers love these characters. I think they sort of go together. You know, they're interconnected in the story, and they're sort of, you know, foils to one another. One is a bit more of a tomboy, the other is sort of like elegant and, you know, more traditionally feminine. And I know that even though they're not super popular in like the competitive community, a lot of Tekken players love them. You know, people who are into customization mode and modding and stuff. And the game is obviously for them as well. But I think Oscar and Lily are probably going to show up in like every Tekken game going forward. I can't see them not showing up. Next, we've got Bob, and I genuinely don't know what will happen with Bob, which makes me sad because he's basically my favorite character to be playing these days. I think he's a unique and cool take on the fat character archetype. I think he's a unique and fun take on the Mishima-esque archetype. Amazing character, but he hasn't really found a huge audience. And who knows, he's probably not, you know, top on characters that are going to be prioritized. And if they release him as DLC, will people really buy him? Who knows, but I think he's amazing, and I really hope to see him. Brian, I'm going to place in royalty as well. He's not one of those story characters, but he is a character that people know about and associate with Tekken, I think. He's also one of the most popular characters in the entire game, and he's also very loved and respected by the community. And some very sort of significant players in the community main this character and have him as like their iconic, you know, go-to. So I can't see them making a game without him, and I think there would be uproar if they tried. Basically, a third of the community would like quit the franchise if they made a main series game without Brian. So I think he's going to be in the very top tier here as well. Claudio, I think Claudio is going to get fired. There are some cool, unique ideas in here. I actually love the idea of hitting with a move which charges up a stance or a resource that you carry with you, and having that indicated by something glowing on the character model. I think that's a very Tekken-y take on a resource system, because I think most of us Tekken players don't want to have meter bars and meter burn and filigree on the screen other than the health bar like they do in 2D games. But you can do this and have, the fact that he's accumulated a resource, starburst on the character, and you only have to look at the opponent's character model to know that they have it available. I think that's great, but I think they failed a little bit in execution. I don't think Claudio looks cool. I don't think a lot of people think that Claudio looks cool, and he was also written strangely in the story, because he was like supposed to be some sort of weak underdog but sort of good guy in the main story, and then he was like ambiguously evil in Xiao Yu's character chapter. So a bit of a mess. I don't think he's found any traction, and I think he's one of the Tekken 7 characters who's going to get axed, but we'll see. Dragunov is almost definitely going to be in. I don't think he's as much of an obvious choice as Brian, but I'm pretty sure that they don't want to make a game without him. He is very cool character, kind of unique, cool, unique animations. A lot of really, really big names main him as well. JDCR, Nobi, Eris. I think people love Dragunov. I'm not going to put him in the very royalty tier, but I would be very surprised if he doesn't show up in the next game. Who knows, maybe they make a bunch of money introducing him as DLC or some sort of pre-order bonus, because that's definitely going to be happening with some of these characters as well. Devil Jin is a little bit difficult for me, because a lot of people have been saying for a long time that it's sort of time to roll him and Jin together. The fact that Jin can transform into Devil Jin, I think, is going to be one of the main plot points of the story of the next game. So will they make him into one character and he can switch between them or something like that? I think it's kind of likely. Then again, Heihachi is dead, so we've got one less Mishima. And if we get rid of Devil Jin, then we have two less Mishimas, and everybody has to play, Kazuya. So who knows? Let's say probably in for now. I'm going to promote him to probably in, because we're going to need at least two Mishimas, so that it's an archetype but not a character. But I can definitely see the argument of, merging him with Jin. And who knows, we're probably going to have new Mishima-esque characters showing up as well, new original characters. So maybe some of them will borrow some Devil Jin and Heihachi moves and sort of fill that niche. Eddie is... It's kind of difficult to tell. A lot of people hate this character, but it is a pretty cool and unique take on a capoeira fighter. There's not really anything else like him in the game. I really don't know what to do with him. Which means that I should place him in the middle, right? Not sure. Feng is Harada's main, so he's going to be at the very top of royalty tier. Not that I think Harada or anybody else who works high up on this project plays a lot of Tekken. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I think they love this character, and I think the community loves this character as well. He's not super popular because his combos are kind of finicky and annoying to have to do. But yeah, this character is definitely going to show up. Not a story character, not a big community favorite, but I think, it's Harada's main, and he's going to stay at the very top of that tier. Gigas, Rippin' Spaghetti. I think Gigas is dead, which is sad, because I think he's super cool. Been playing him again recently. It's a very, very incomplete and flawed design. There's some power there, and he can do some cool, powerful things. He can be fun to play, but he can also be the most frustrating character to play in the game, almost. When somebody fast is poking you down and you can't keep up and you just don't have the tools, it can really suck. But I think this is amazing, and it's definitely something that they should carry forward, in my opinion, and keep working on. Bunch of cool ideas with the charged up block stun moves and the Goliath stance, things like that. And the hyper powerful 10 frame Punisher and things like that. He just needs to be rounded out a bit more. He needs a throw mix for Overkill, because Overkill is I started playing this character again recently, and I could just rush up the ranks really fast until the point where people started breaking Overkill consistently, and then his power just really falls off, right? to be able to compete at a higher level, he's going to need a throw mix for overkill. Will they give it to him and make him a more fleshed out and good character? I don't think so. But then again, we've seen Harada say that he thinks Gigas is has the highest win rate of any character. You know, those secret numbers that he's working with in his little bar. So who knows? Maybe I'm actually going to promote Gigas. I think he might actually make it in. No, he won't. He won't. Nobody's going to play him. Heihachi's dead, so I think he's out. They could bring him back as some sort of memory or whatever, but it's just going to cheapen, you know, that epic last scene of this game where he fought Kazuya to the death. So I'm pretty sure he's out for now, but I think they're going to take some of the things that he has and give it to other characters so that, you know, some of the moves that people love aren't gone forever. Hwoarang is basically Tekken royalty, but let's place him alongside Dragunov here. Again, very difficult for me to see them not including him. I would be very surprised if he were gone. And there's almost definitely going to be a version of Jack as well. In some of those leaks we saw last year, they were actually talking about maybe they're going to do a smaller roster, but they were going to do 2 Jacks. That was in that leak. So, you know, maybe Jack and P-Jack, maybe, you know, Jack 8 and Gun Jack. I think it would be a really fun idea to have some sort of P-Jack thing where you have the new Jack 8, and then maybe you keep Jack 7, but he's like old and a bit of a clunker now, and he's getting rusty. So his moves are a little bit more visceral, you know, kind of like Pacific Rim, where there's the Russian robot, which is like this steam-powered hunk of shit. I think that would be a really cool idea. But yeah, there's probably almost 100% going to be a Jack in the new game. Jin, of course, is going to be in. Whether or not he's Devil Jin or some sort of, you know, mix of the two, who knows. But I think he's going to be one of the main characters of the next game, and it's probably going to be like his redemption arc, which is strange because he's like a boring genocidal maniac in terms of the story. He looks cool though. I think Josie's gonna die. I think Josie, not in the story, I think she's just out of the game. Muay Thai fighters, we've had a couple. I think she's the least liked out of all of them. I think her character design, her move list, I should say, the gameplay lacks ideas. It's hyper basic. There's not much to it. It's just like, you know, a very standard Tekken character, but you take away the down forward one and you add, you know, a crouch dash with a hatchet kick. It's kind of bland. And I think we don't tend to respond well to characters who are loud and noisy and cry necessarily. You know, it's a bit of a trope in Japanese character design. I think most of the Tekken players just find it kind of annoying and abrasive. But I know there are a lot of people who love Josie as well. And I mean, I don't dislike her, but there's just not a lot there. Katarina might be the deadest character in the game, bottom of spaghetti tier. Not only is it one of the least popular characters in the game, it's also one of the least liked Tekken characters ever. And she sucks. She's she's completely useless, one of the worst characters, and almost nobody likes her. I actually like her. I don't like playing her that much anymore. I've tried it recently, and like Gigas, it just feels like an incomplete design that lacks a lot of things right now. Some fundamental stuff, decent jabs down for one, so you can make things happen with her, but it just lacks power outside combos. But people just get frustrated and hate this character, and that is why you don't build a character around big, semi-seeable, chunky lows and stuff like that, right? Because, you know, it feels bad when you hit with them. It feels bad when you get blocked. It's just not a satisfying way to play the game. I think she looks cool. I love the attitude. I love the pants, you know. Having a powerful kicking character with that sort of attitude, I think it works, but I know I'm in a definite minority there, and I think Katarina is probably the deadest character ever. There's one character in this list who's even deader than her for obvious reasons, but we'll get to it. Kazumi is gonna die too. She's been dead. She was dead in Tekken 7. She came back as sort of an echo or memory of a character that used to exist, but I think if there's going to be more Mishima stuff happening in the story next time, I think maybe the return of Jun, maybe some sort of new female Mishima-esque character is going to come in. It seems likely to me, and I think they're going to roll in some concepts from her, kind of like I think they're going to do with Heihachi. thing with Kazumi is that she doesn't have that many things that are unique to her. It's basically the tiger, because she the fly thing she's borrowing from Jinpachi, Crimson Dawn. She's also borrowing from other characters, Flash Punch combo, and the only other thing that she does really, those running moves maybe, the running too. But this character I don't think is going to show up again. Maybe some of her moves. Kazuya, of course, is royalty. He's going to be one of the main characters, maybe the main villain, maybe another redemption arc. I'm thinking that they're probably going to have the return of Devil actually as a playable character. Maybe that's how they increase the number of Mishimas in this game. Maybe we have, Jin, and then we have Devil and Kazuya. So no Devil Jin, but a Devil Kazuya. That could be a cool idea, but it seems like the way it's going with him is he's succumbing completely to the devil side of himself and becoming evil now. That could also mean the return of Angel, which would be pretty cool. Maybe that's the Mishima roster that we have. We have a merged Devil Jin character. We've got Kazuya, Devil, and then Angel for a total of 4 Mishimas in the new game. That would be super cool. Angel sucked in Tag 2, but you could take that very plain looking Angel design and do something amazing with it. Definitely. That character, get some good concept artists in on making some cool armor and some cool, light and laser stuff for her, and it could turn into one of the most amazing looking characters ever. Might even get me to play a Mishima. Unlikely. Especially if I already have my Bob. King is total Tekken royalty. From the old days, this is one of the characters that people think about when they think about the game. And he's the most fleshed out grappler that we have. So if he's going to go, they're going to have to come up with something else for that. But there's no risk that they will. People like King. People know about King since the old days. And he's definitely going to be in. I think Kuma's going to be out. Just because, if they're going to do a smaller roster and they have to prioritize, this character is going to be very low on the list of priority. I don't hate the fact that Kuma's in the game. It feels a little bit goofy and a little bit, Japanese arcade, which I kind of like. It's one of the things I like about games like this, so I don't mind. Lars is going to be one of the main characters in the story again, along with Elisa and Jin and the rest. So he's pretty much going to be in. Law... Yeah, either royalty or probably in. I'm going to put him here along, Dragunov and Hwoarang. The hyper generic Bruce Lee, knockoff Bruce Lee character that most fighting games tend to have. But it's just weird seeing, a Tekken roster that doesn't have martial law in it at this point. I think he belongs. Even though I don't enjoy the design all that much. I think if you're going to just do Bruce Lee, add something to it, and do something with it. Don't just try and almost carbon copy Bruce Lee. But Lee is actually almost a better take on that martial art. He's either going to go in royalty or probably in, because he is one of the story characters now, but he doesn't really do anything. He kind of hangs around in the background and does exposition for people because he knows the family and stuff. I'm going to put him here, but... he pretty much has to be in the game. I'm going to put him here because if any of those characters are going to get, booted out, it will be him. But it's very unlikely that he won't show up. Leo, this is a little bit of a difficult one. I'm going to place it in the middle because Leo has been kind of unimpressive for most of this game. Not many people have played the character at all, but in terms of the visual design of the character, it's kind of a progressive idea, right? To have a character where every player can sort of decide for themselves if, they feel that the character is male or female or neither or both. It's like it's a fun idea and it's a progressive idea, and you don't want to introduce something like that and then take it away because it will look like you are removing that sort of progression from the character design of your game. So for that reason, I think they would probably want to keep Leo, but then again, nobody really seems to want to play Leo, so they're going to have to come up with something to make people interested and excited about the character again. And I think they could start with, they need to figure out what they want to do with those King K loops. They need to figure out, how to make the combo game more interesting and fleshed out. Then again, who knows what combos are going to be like in Tekken 8. We're probably looking at a completely different system. So who knows? Lily, I think, is going to hang out with Asuka here at the top. I don't think we're ever going to have a Tekken game without Lily. Chloe's super dead. I think Namco, honestly, if I had to speculate, I'd say Namco were thinking about axing this character before they even put her in, because they showed this character, they showed this idea, people hated it. Harada got into some sort of argument with fans on social media, criticizing them for, you know, not liking cutesy designs or whatever. It was a whole thing, and then she came out and she's a bit of a meme character. She has her community, a bunch of players who love to use her. She's had some fun tournament appearances as well, but bad character, disliked character, a design that is just out there. They went for it and it just did not land at all. But a dancer character who listens to music and, you know, moves to a beat and has timing based just frames, that's one of the coolest ideas that the Tekken team have ever had for a character. It's amazing. The pink cat thing is where it just went completely off the rails. She should have looked like Jinx from League of Legends, you know, with big fat headphones. And even when you turn the music down on the game, you should be able to hear what she's listening to, because the volume in her headphones is so loud. And she should have an idle animation that moves to that beat. She kind of does now, but now she's super loud. When you get Chloe in the lobby as your partner and she starts dancing and singing, and you just have to go out back into the menus and back in because you can't have her there. Just having her on the screen is annoying when she's doing nothing, when nobody's playing her. This character is super mega dead, and I think that's a good idea. But it's kind of like, you know, Claudio. There's some cool stuff in there, like Gigas as well, that I'm sad to see go, but they're probably gonna have to go. Raven feels like a character that should go in the middle, but I think Raven is probably going to be in. If you look at the story of Tekken 6 and Tekken 7, they've tried to roll this character in to be more of a main story character. In Tekken 6, the old Raven was in. In Tekken 7, they ended up cutting that part of the story, but you can go and look at some cinematics where Raven, Master Raven, clearly appears in pre-rendered cutscenes for Tekken 7. So she was meant to be a story character, and I think that's an indication that Namco love this character. Namco want this character to be in the game. They want to do stuff with the character. It's a very unique and flavorful design as well that I honestly kind of love. A little bit complex and a nightmare to try and get into. But I have a gut feeling that they're gonna push Raven and have her in future games. And is it going to be the old Raven? Is it going to be Master Raven? Who knows? I like them both, but I think I prefer Master Raven. She's just so cool looking. Miguel, I'm going to place in the middle here. I mean, one of the greatest fighting game character designs of all time, in my opinion. I'd almost be happy getting a tattoo of him on my body. I love Miguel. This started out as, you know, a Miguel channel, more or less, even though I get frustrated a lot when I play him because I really can't find that thing that really makes him tick. I'm trying to do it right now, and I'm going to make a real effort while we're still in this version of the game. But not that popular. Well liked, though, I think, so who knows. I can see Miguel DLC being a huge possibility, because it's a character that people would be like, you can make a super cool Spanish guitar hype trailer with, you know, flamenco music and get people really hype, and I think people would want to buy this character. But base roster, when they're going to scale the roster down, who knows. Nina is one of the Tekken royalty characters. She's going to be in like every game. She always has been. I don't know why. I think she's kind of bland and boring and doesn't do anything. Putting her in a burnt wedding dress with some grenades and stuff taped to the thigh was a genius idea to make her look a little bit more interesting. But when she's just in her catsuit with her terrible animations where she's punching like this, it's super awkward. Obviously dated, but she's one of the Tekken darlings. I mentioned that there was a character I thought was going to be the deadest character in the game, and that's this character, because this is the only character that is a palette swap that became its own character for absolutely no reason. This should have been a palette swap or costume for Kuma, the same way you can pick a violet costume for Lee. I don't know why the character is occupying a spot in the roster. It makes no sense to me. Paul is super mega royalty. We need that hair in every game. We need Death Fist in every game. We need those big yellow sparks. We need Death Fist into run, into tackle for the Oki, because Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, that's like probably something that's like burnt into the memories and the retinas of everybody who remembers those old legendary games that the legacy of this franchise is built on. I think Shaheen might be dead. The reason I'm not going to put him in spaghetti tier is that kind of like with Leo, they're doing something a bit more progressive where they're going with not only a Middle Eastern character, but aesthetically, you know, an obviously Middle Eastern character. And again, it probably feels not very progressive to put that sort of thing in and then take it out again in the next game. Thing about Shaheen is that he looks really cool, and it's not like people dislike him because he's Middle Eastern at all. It's just a bit of a boring gameplay design. And one thing I've noticed when I've played him is that the animations look kind of cool and agile, but he has almost no hit sparks, not even in his combos. Everything just feels like a wet noodle when it connects, and he doesn't have that nice kinetic feedback that you get when you hit with Miguel's moves, where just like, you know, if you can feel it in your body, you get goosebumps when you hit with a Savage 2, or you play Negan and you hit with, you know, counter it down to Shaheen. Everything just feels like you're hitting with a jab, like a wet jab. And I think they need to spice that up and make it more chunky. He's a bit bland. So who knows? Maybe he should be in the middle. Hopefully they give him something a little bit more interesting. I think Steve has sort of managed to claw his way into Tekken royalty tier. He's the boxer, you know, and everybody thinks he's really cool. The idea of having a character that doesn't kick because he's a boxer and then he's got sways instead, it's just too flavorful, too unique, too well liked to not be in the game. And I think he, like, these characters who are like 99% going to be in the game, like Law, Horang, and Dragunov, I think he just edges them out by just that much. Xiao Yu, though, I think is royalty as well. You have to have your, you know, loud, young, energetic superpower girl. They tend to show up in these games as well. But she's been, you know, in the game since the old days. People love, you know, Art of Phoenix. She's not a fun character to play against in this game, but, you know, we can't have Tekken with Xiao Yu, really. I don't think so. And we can't have Tekken without Yoshi. Who knows what kind of crazy armor he's going to be wearing. They probably have, you know, 10 people designing that by now. Is he going to be a bird next time? That would be a cool idea. Bird Yoshi. Maybe he's going to be some sort of mammal Yoshi. Maybe he has some samurai armor. Who knows? Hopefully he gets some useful moves, though. And acts like a little bit less of a clown. I think that would be good. Akuma is a guest character, which means that for legal reasons he won't be in the game. You can't, you know, they would have to renew the right to use him in this game, and I think they're going to want to use him and push him in Street Fighter 6 as opposed to Tekken 8. So, I mean, all the guest characters, we can kind of go ahead and do this. Noctis, Negan, because this is a one-time thing when you get the right to use a character like that as a guest, and I can't see them, you know, going through that whole thing again. The only guest character that I'm really sad to see go is Negan, because I think his move list is actually kind of genius, and I hope we get a bat fighter using a baseball bat who borrows a lot from Negan but is an original character, because that they can do. They don't own, you know, they don't own Negan, but they do obviously have the right to use the moves that they came up for him in this game. And baseball is huge in Japan. It's by far the largest sport. It's almost, you know, half of everything they talk about over there. So it would make perfect sense to have a baseball themed fighter. Elisa, I think, may be surprising. I think Elisa is probably going to be in. Reason for that is, first of all, in those leaks from last year, it said that Elisa will be more fleshed out and be like the replacement for the 2D archetype going forward, but she's an original Tekken character that they already own. She's completely Tekken from the start, and they already have all these unique animations and things for her, and then all they need to do is they can, you know, roll in ideas from Akuma and these other 2D characters into her. Or what I hope they do, what would probably be my main in the next game, no question, if they did it, is they start dropping these 2D things. They drop even the blood meter. and they make her more of a typical Tekken character with typical Tekken moves. They flesh out that part of her, and she becomes more of a real Tekken character instead. But I don't think they want to throw her, out the baby with the bathwater here. But who knows? I'm gonna put her in the middle actually. But I wouldn't be surprised to see her. But it's gonna be really interesting to see what kind of character she shows up as, if she shows up. Anna, I don't know. Anna looks so much cooler than Nina, in my opinion, especially in this game. She's got more personality. She's just more fun. She seems like the more fun person. She's definitely the sister that you would want to hang out with, right? Definitely. Probably makes her slightly less of an effective assassin, but who cares? She's got a bazooka down her pants that she talks to. Well done. It's really weird. She throws 60 knives and in different directions, and somehow they all hit the same person right in front of her for the rage art. The most 50-50 character that's ever existed, probably. Mixing snake edges with mid launchers, that's annoying. I hate that kind of design. Make her, make her mix ups more legit, so that it's not just flipping a coin every time. But I honestly kind of like Anna, good vibes, but who knows? Nina is definitely going to be in, and then Anna, who knows? But it's like Tekken 7, they made her DLC, right? And introduced her with the funeral dress, sort of as a foil to Nina. Lei, gonna put him in the middle as well. I want Lei to be in every Tekken game, so it's such a cool idea. I think the way he looks now, graying hair, a little bit, scuffed looking, with the jacket and the thing, it's so cool. It's so cool. Razor Rush spam and stuff is super annoying, but I'm trying to not think about what it's like playing against the characters. I'm trying to think about what it's going to be, seeing a roster and seeing that character in it, seeing the character trailer for this character for Tekken 8, and I think people are just excited about Lei. They really wanted him in this game, and then when he showed up, nobody played him because it was just too much work. Marduk, I don't know. I really don't know about Marduk. Maybe he's going to go in the middle as well then. Kind of popular, obviously very powerful. I think one of the better characters in the entire game. I think that you need to redesign the tackle, you need to lengthen the break window, you need to make it so that when you play against Marduk, you spend less time just watching him do things. It turns into a lot of cutscenes. But, jacket's cool, I guess. Armor King has the chance. He's the character who has the chance in Tekken 8 to be promoted to Tekken royalty, I think. He's not been in every game, but in this game he is the most popular DLC character, I think, by far, and I think he's the most liked DLC character by far, which means that Namco have made a lot of money selling Armor King to people. And then he was so popular that they buffed him up and made him, stronger in the later seasons. So yeah, Armor King, I'd be very surprised to not see him, and if he's in this game, and they sort of make it a thing that Armor King and King always go together into the game the same way Lars and Elisa go together and Oscar and Lily go together, then I think, he has a promotion chance here. He's gonna go up to Tekken God Omega and become Tekken royalty if he's a base roster character for the next game. Julia, who knows? I preferred Michelle, I preferred JC, but Julia's honestly pretty cool. OP right now, a nightmare to play against. They made her, an OnlyFans streamer or whatever. I guess that's cool. She doesn't wash her hair. I was really surprised to not see Julia in the base roster of 7, honestly, because to me, she was one of those characters. Paul, Yoshi, Julia, Michelle. But apparently not. I don't know. Don't think this character is likely to be base roster. Zafina, I don't know. Maybe out. I mean, this character almost has to be in because she's just so unique and cool. I mean, one of my mains, so obviously I'm going to say that. But the hand is such a good idea. The stances and everything is just so creepy and cool. But she's not popular. She's not super well liked. The best Tekken player in the world mains her, so that's pretty cool, I guess. I don't know. I genuinely don't know, which means that, when I have like no feeling either way, I'm just going to put them in the middle. Gon Ryu is going to be dead, I'm pretty sure. I like sumo wrestling. I think Gon Ryu is a pretty fun idea, but like nobody plays him. I think he's the least played character in the game. I think some time periods he's been less picked than Panda, who's only half a character, you know, because most people pick Kuma and not Panda. So like almost nobody likes him. The new stance works. He's honestly a bit overpowered in this game. He's quite overpowered in this game when you play him and you realize the down 4-2 is crazy. The lows are crazy. Full crouch down 4-2 is insanity for with Punisher. 4-4 1+2. The damage is just... and the wall game. But no, I don't think generic sumo dude in the next game. Not if they're going to focus on a smaller roster. And now we finally get to what I refer to as the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the 4 characters that made the Tekken community fall out of love with the Tekken developers and vice versa, because the balancing of these characters is so controversial. But thing about these 4 characters, right, is that they have some of the coolest looking animations of any Tekken character ever. They animate beautifully. There's more detail, the way they look, the faces, the voices, more personality, bunch of flavor. Visually, fantastic design. Artists who work on Tekken are geniuses and they do amazing work, and they're doing their best work right now. But when Leroy was released, that was the big turning point for this game. That was when Tekken 7 started to become a heavily criticized joke to people. The offline scene started to be extremely impacted by it, and just discourse online became so much more negative after that. And then they did it again with Fakum Lam, they did it again with Kuni, and they did it again with Lydia, which just feels so cynical, right? Because it's like we're gonna pretend that we listen to feedback, but we really just want the cheddar. And I think they've made so much bank doing that we should expect that trend to continue. But with that in mind, will these characters be in the game? Leroy looks amazing. He's like one of the coolest fighting game characters we've ever seen. But that parry has to go. That stance has to go. The stance transitions has to go. The moves that come out of the stance have to go. They have to be worse. They have to be worse. But if they are, I mean, I'd be honestly super happy to see him. And imagine what cool outfits they could come up with for Leroy next. I think they're going to want to keep him. I think they're going to keep Lydia as well. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. There's this whole thing happening in Europe now. And, you know, Poland and a prime minister of Poland, it's kind of like dangerously close to that in a couple of ways. So who knows? Maybe they're... But then again, right, Namco and companies like Namco are completely tone deaf when it comes to what happens in the real world. Like when Namco released, you know, a Middle Eastern character riding on an airplane past a couple of skyscrapers, and they released a trailer on 9/11. And it was, you know, complete coincidence, but they're just that unaware. So I think they should keep Lydia, because I think she's genuinely probably like the coolest and most detailed looking character that we've had. She looks absolutely amazing. Her attacks feel so good to do, but the balancing is way off. Fakum Lam is probably the most likely to not show up. I don't think Kunimitsu is either, if I'm honest. But I don't know. They would have to get that same voice actors back. I guess that's it. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm honestly surprised with where some characters ended up. But the final thing I want to do here is like look for my characters and characters that I want to play. And I don't think I have a single one above question mark tier, which is a little bit worrying. But, you know, if I have Bob, Zafina, Eliza, and a couple more characters around this area here, Miguel, you know, hopefully one of them is going to show up in the base roster. And it is going to matter, you know, when you have some muscle memory going in and some comfort going into a completely new game. I think just the couple of first few weeks, it's going to make a difference on your progress, as opposed to having to learn something completely new. But then again, there's going to be new original characters. There's going to be new guest characters likely. Maybe something comes out that is so cool that we just drop what we used to play because we want to try this new thing. But number one on the wish list is probably a non-2D Eliza. But if I can't get that, if I can get Zafina, Bob, or Miguel, I'll be a very happy camper. I hope you enjoy this. I don't know how long I've been talking. I had a lot of fun making it. Not a super serious video, you know, it's speculation. It's just hanging out for a bit on a Sunday, having a silly goose time. I think you, or I hope you had fun watching it. Please chime in with what you think I got wrong in the comments. And I'll see you guys again very soon.